E te iwi tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora everybody, it's Che Wilson here from Te Pai Pai Waho, connecting to you through a few different pages tonight. Hoi anō e mihi kauatu ana tēnā koutou, kia ora katoa tātou. As we wait for everybody to come on, I'm just going to start us off with karakia. Maia maranga wakarangona te rangi e tū nei, maia maranga wakarangona te pape e takoto ake nei. E ue nei ki te pau o te pai pai wao e tū nei. Koe ako te wakatipua, koe ako te wakatawitu, koe aka aputa ki wao, ki te wai au, ki te ao marama. Turuturu au hiti waka maua kia tīna, hui e, taiki e. Taiki e kia tātou, kia ora tātou. As I said earlier, it's Che Wilson here from Te Pai Pai Waho, connecting to you through a range of different pages tonight. And tonight's kaupapa is about Tangihanga online, how to run them, what to do, all of the different things around Tangihanga online. And as people connect up, I just want to do a couple of mihi. Firstly, e mihi kauatu ana ki tō tātou kingi, kia kingi tūheitia. Koia, ko tōna koronei ana te kaumārima, i tutuki pai i te rāhoroi nei, ka tū hei zoro nei hana, no reire e tū e te kingi pai mārire. E tangi ana ki o tātou mate o te wā. Koutou te unga kua riro atu ki te pō, e moe, e oki. Hoki tōni mai kia tātou, te kaupapa tangata, kia ora everybody, great to be back. I'm drinking a hot drink tonight because still a bit whango. So, tonight's kaupapa is Tangihanga online. And I think just to note a few things first. Nobody wants to be in a predicament where you can't be with your loved ones when they pass. However, this lockdown means that we can't have tangihanga. And so we've got to work out how we navigate that space and how we find ways to grieve, how we find ways to move through the emotions that are associated with loss, as well as how we move through the emotions and how we navigate change and difference. Because for a lot of people, navigating change and difference is a big no, don't want to do it. When actually, the reason why I love our tikanga is because our tikanga is about making things work for that time and for that context. As I've said many times, using English translations like protocol and custom have put us into an English mindset where you can't change that. When actually, tikanga is about maintaining balance to achieve the purpose of the hui. And so I thought, was part of a tangi over the last few days, and I'm not going to talk about that tangi in particular, but I thought I'd give a guide for people around how to run online tangihanga and also how to run online karakia. And I think the first thing to note, and it was noted today when we welcomed the family back from them taking their tūpāpaku to the gate of the cemetery, and then the undertaker and them bearing the tūpāpaku. Actually, let's go back. So what happens under this current level 4, and I'm not here to debate whether it's right or not. I'm here to provide some solutions to help people navigate loss and pain. And Nathan, sorry, I've been busy with the tangi, so that's why I haven't had a chance to send you back that recording. Hoi no ngā manaakitanga, bro, ki tō māma hoki. So, at the moment, you can't have your body, or if your loved one has passed at home from a known sickness, spend some time with them before you then ring the officials. Or if it's an accident and or an emergency, ring them straight away. But where people have been preparing to pass over anyway, you might choose to spend a few hours or whatever with them. The key thing is once you hand them over to the officials, they're then with them and then they take them to the rupa. So it's very different at the moment. And there may be localised differences, but that's the standard. And you can go into the Ministry of Health for more details. But that's for the government to explain. So, what I want to talk about is how you run these things to make it work for you and the mamae that you're going through and how you navigate through that mamae. So there's karakia. What's really important is whether your tūpāpaku is with you or whether they leave, is to have karakia. And if you don't have the words, focus in on the intention and say what's coming from your heart, especially if it's something intimate and you don't have the people around you or online or on the phone to help you. If you do have people to help you online or on a phone or whatever, then get them to guide you through this process. And as you do it, it's important to keep some form of routine. So 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock at night, or whatever time you do your karakia, it might be 6 a.m. in the morning, 6 a.m. at night, or whenever, or link on to some of the karakia that are already online, because there's a heap of people doing karakia. So have some routine as you're going through this morning process. Have the karakia and do that. But the night karakia is a really good karakia for you to come together with your wider family. And as you come together as a wider family, it's a chance to guide the people through their poditanga, through their sadness. And what's really good to do is to sort out your technology. There's a whole range of tools that you could use: Google Meets, Teams, Zooms, whatever they are. You know, I'm through StreamYard, which is why I can go to different pages. Use the different technology that can help you to connect. Noting that some of them have limits on the number of people you can invite. And so the basic Zoom is only 100 devices. So when you're limited, you need to be telling everybody, because some people like to have 3 or 5 devices from the one house linking in. No, cut that out. Bring everybody into the one place so that you're all there, so that others can then join on. And so all of this is quite important as you navigate which tool you're going to use. And I can see if I'm cutting out a bit, I can see my internet's a bit flat because my daughter and son are probably watching videos. Hoi anō. Make sure when you are doing your karakia that the signal is strong, because the last thing you want to do is cut out during the karakia. The other thing is there are two types of karakia or services that you can run. One of those is just a really informal, intimate one. But the moment that they get larger, you need some structure around them. And some might not do that, and you might get through it and it might work. But once they go big, it's really important to have some structure. And if you've got a facilitator who can facilitate and then have others do karakia and kōrero and waiata. And another really key important, yes, there are limits, and it just depends on whatever device and whatever tool you use. So you've got to work that out, do your research. I can see my mum and one of her mokopunas having a chat online right now. And so if it gets big, it's really good to have a separate facilitator, a separate tech person, and then the kai kōrero, the kai karakia, the kai waiata, etc. And you've just got to make it work. And the reason why I've embraced this is I come from a family where it's always been the thing. If people needed karakia, we would ring them up and join in with them in their karakia. And so it's always been part of the family. And so doing it via this technology is just the next step. And so some people just absolutely loathe it, and kei a koe tērā. But some will adapt to make it work so that we can grieve and share love with each other. When you go larger, it's also good to then share screen and have a PowerPoint with either the order of ceremony or the words for the prayers and the songs and whatever else. It's also really good to always remind at the beginning to tell people to stay on mute, because there will always be people who don't know how to use the technology properly. And halfway through something, you'll get random talks and all of that. For the participants, it's really important for you to, when you're in the karakia, to be in the karakia or turn your screen off. Because no good going like this while karakia is on and you're being snapped because you're having a smoke during karakia. Turn your screen off. Or if you're having a feed during karakia, turn your screen off. Otherwise, people take photos of that and then they laugh about it at their post-Zui or Teams meeting cup of teas after, where you'd normally after karakia go for a cup of tea and have a catch up and a laugh. Well, people are doing that on online after the service as well. But that's just a few things to share. But most importantly is to take people on the journey. Take people on the journey so that we can all grieve and we can all share love. The other thing is that it's really important to give some key messages, because while we're away, people are going to finish and then they're not going to know what to do. And so what I'd suggested was at the tangi today, for those of you that live in the suburbs where the hearse will drive past, stand out on that main road, say your farewell, send them some words, some karakia, a karanga, a haka, or a ngiri, and share those words, share that love as he drives past. And so all of those things help guide people to then know what to do in a time where we're struggling because it's so different. Okay. So this is why I love our tikanga, because our tikanga just helps guide us through these challenging times. Now, there's a couple of questions I think I'm going to have a look at. So, tikanga in different areas. The tikanga that are different are actually the ways that it's done at place. What you'll find online is there isn't too much difference online. The difference is when you're at place. And as you are at place, you do things differently because your environment and other historical events guide you to do it in a certain way. But I want to go back to one of my initial points, which I heard today. Hei wi wairua tātou. We are a spiritual people, and we now have to dig deep to lean into our spirituality to help us send our love to our loved ones and help us guide and take people on a journey to grieve and to share love. Because what I do know, and I learnt this last year at my first online karakia, and I felt it. I felt it as I sang, and as I did it, I felt it, and I felt my wanaunga cry, and I knew that the vibration of my karakia, my kōrero, and my waiata went straight to her heart. And so remember, vibration can travel through technology because it's universal. Hei wi wairua tātou, and we need to lean into that spirituality to believe that our kupu are going to where they need to go, even though we can't touch those people we love and want to be with. So ka tiake, koe nā tāku I tēnei wā. All of the ins and outs, you just need a bit of practice. And, you might want to have little family ones, just to have karakia together. My family, we have a happy hour at 6 o'clock. And, we'll be having a drink and a kai or whatever else. And then the kids are usually sub-tribing wherever. Yes, and as Elijah Pua has just said, you should always have very good tech people, especially those who know how to work waiata. It's a if you know, you know. But we have a drink, and then at 5:02 we start to get ready to then go in to get ready for 7 o'clock karakia. And so if you practice as a family doing those things now, that's going to help you when you've arrived at that time of need where somebody's either sick or somebody has passed, because it will then guide you to that next place. So ka tiake, hopefully that's made some sense. Hopefully it's helpful. And the most important thing, and I want to thank Charisma Rangipunga for this, because I'm going to change things up going forward. Instead of having themes and series, yeah, got that one? Instead of having themes and series, I'm going to talk about different things that happen during my week and then talk about the tikanga associated with that, so that it's live-ish and helpful to guide you through the rest of the hui. Ka tiake, e mihi kauana kia koutou, I roto I tēnei po o my cousin Aroha. So lovely to see you all. Oh, and yes, Aria. So I was a virgin today because I got to do my first takahi whare through the phone or through FaceTime. And had my two cousins and my aunt. They were at the house with the water, and I did the karakia. They went around the outside, they went in the inside, and we made it work. And some might be saying, oh, women shouldn't do that stuff. It's the men should carry it. We had to make it work for that context. But in the same breath, I know our tent, my aunties, my mother, and all of them, they would just wakarite the tent so that we could all pull it down. So, you make it work, And don't make things hard for yourself. Because all of this new learning that we have, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Remember, it's all context. And in times like this, we have to make it work and send our love so that we can grieve, and more importantly, we can then feel the love. So we had a beautiful takai whare, and then we had a beautiful welcome them back into the house after they came back in. And we did what we needed to do. Tēnā koutou e te iwi, e mihi kau atu ana kia koutou, i roto i te roanga ake o tēnei pō, i te roanga ake o tēnei kātū āua, ko pākau nei kia tātou, ko te mate korona, e waka raruraru ana i a tātou, waka pīoi ana i te tūranga, o tātou tikanga, o tino, ko te aronga o te tikanga, ko ia ko te ora. Let's remember, tikanga was created to make us safe and to live well lives. Therefore, we make it work for the time, for the context. Tēnei ka mihi atu, kia o kaere aka ki te tā nui o rangi nui atu nei. Unu ia, unu ia, unu ia te punga o te waka kia arewa i te maungaroa, turuturu o i ti waka maua kia tīna, uie, tae kie kia tātou, pō marire.